Hi, the internet. Welcome to the What Else Show. I'm your host, Robert. This is Bethany.
Hi, internet.
Today we've got a movie review for you.
Yes.
A movie review of It Chapter 2.
Yes.
Yes, which automatically makes the first It Chapter 1.
Open for spoilers.
Yeah. We're going to talk about spoilers for It Chapter 1. So if you haven't seen It Chapter 1, I mean, you're not watching this video, so, you know, it doesn't matter anyway.
No, nobody watches our videos.
Anyways, Bethany, It Chapter 2. What do you think?
Chapter 2. I am not a good source of a review for a scary movie.
You don't like scary movies.
I hate scary movies. I spent most of this movie looking at my shoes.
Right.
I did not like it.
Here's the relationship I have with scary movies.
Okay.
I feel like some people give scary movies like a pass if it has scary scenes in it. Like, I'll do the same thing for a comedy if it has funny scenes in it. Like, okay, this movie is not a good movie, but there were some funny parts, so I like the movie. Mm-hmm. Or I'll do the same thing for special effects. Like, oh, this movie's not good, but the special effects, and there was some pretty cool stuff in there, and, you know, I'll give it more of a pass. I'll lean that way. But I don't have that same thing for scary movies. Like, oh, this movie's not very good, but there were some scary parts in it, so, you know, I'll give it a pass. Like, I don't have that. So, I mean, since you're watching the review, I feel like you should know that first. Anyway, continue.
So I hated it.
Hated it.
I did not like it. When we watched the first one, I was actually very entertained, and I was actually interested in the story, and I didn't find myself having to look away a lot. But in this movie, I was constantly having to like look away or shut my eyes a lot, which I didn't like. I couldn't get connected to the story at all because of that. It has a completely different aesthetic, I thought, from the first one. Definitely different feel, different aesthetic. The first one was very story driven. This movie is very monster driven.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed in this movie. In the original, I felt like they built a lot of tension with the characters, and a lot of there was a lot of exploration.
Right, and there was a lot of suspense as opposed to like blood and gore and scary things happening. It was very suspenseful too.
Yeah, in this movie,
which I like.
A lot
I like suspense.
Like this, that's what the scares were in the first movie, like build up and suspense and tension. Mm-hmm. In this movie, I felt like they went like, well, let's put a scary looking ugly monster in here and we can use that to scare people. It didn't have the same suspense. It didn't have the same tension. It didn't have any of those things like the first movie had. And I felt really bored during this movie.
Yeah. And like for me to have my mind wander at all during a movie is really unusual. Even if it is a scary movie, like I will still, you know, I'll listen to like what's going on the screen if I can't watch it. But I did find my mind kind of wandering. I was thinking about like, oh, I should do I got to make sure I do laundry when I get home. So I agree. It was too long. There were several spots.
Way too long.
Where it could have ended and they didn't end it. It just kept going. And I was like, can we just end it already?
No spoilers for the movie, but this movie has flashbacks to the original movie and the original kids that played that are now adults in this movie. Mm-hmm. So flashback to that.
Yes.
So there are some scenes, I guess that were in the first movie that we didn't see.
No, they were not in the first movie. It just happened when they were kids.
Okay.
And
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That should have been in the first movie,
yes.
But they played them out here?
Yes, as flashbacks.
Yeah.
And they should have just put them in the first movie.
Yeah. Since it wasn't the kids in the movie, I found the flashbacks to be not jarring. I felt like the flashbacks were a waste of time.
Well, it took you out of the continuous story. Yeah, it took you out of the story. And yeah,
it's just more... It doesn't tell a tight story because of the flashbacks. And I enjoyed the kids in the first movie, mm-hmm. and I did not enjoy them in this movie because I felt like they were interrupting the movie I was watching. Right. The movie I didn't like that I'm watching currently.
Right. Those damn kids kept interrupting this awful movie that we were trying to watch.
Also, the way the story unfolds, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, disappointing story and disappointing plot in general. Weak plot, weak story. Whereas the first one, I was very engaged with the story, even though it was a scary movie.
Right. The only reason you even agreed to see the second one is because you wanted to see how everything wrapped up from the first one.
Right.
Which was really unsatisfying in the second one.
Yeah, very unsatisfying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hated it. I mean, like I said, I'm not a good person to review a scary movie because I hate scary movies in general, but the first one had me more engaged.
Sure.
Even though it was like, to me, it was a scary movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
The comedy relief or the comic relief I thought was very funny. Also,
It's
when
just because you were terrified out of your mind,
Yeah,
you would have
and-
loved any
and when I
joke.
was, and it's like I'm so scared watching this movie, and I'm laughing at the most inappropriate times because I am kind of terrified while I'm watching it, and something would happen, and I would just laugh, and I would be like, I don't think they meant for this part to be funny.
that's a fear response.
Yeah. I was so scared.
You're just like a chimpanzee. When you get scared, you just
But yeah, it just felt like the comic relief. I really enjoyed.
okay.
That was kind of the one redeeming quality was the one-liners and the jokes and stuff. It was
Okay.
good.
Now, would you recommend this movie?
I would recommend this movie to anybody who likes scary movies, but if you were a big fan of the first It, I don't know that I would recommend it if you were a fan of the first one, except for maybe some kind of closure because you watched the first one, so you have to watch the second one.
Which this movie does not offer
right.
a lot of.
I guess I can't recommend it. It just the first one was great, and I could have just been happy
Without seeing this one.
Yep.
You know what?
Can't recommend it.
I agree. I don't recommend this movie. I mean, it looks fine. Some of the special effects are a little
Green screen.
Green
yeah, there was some
screen,
green
CG,
screen. But see, I wasn't even watching it
eh.
enough to catch that. But yeah.
Yeah.
you got that.
I mean, if you like the idea of them throwing a lot of scary looking monsters at you,
Yes. Oh my God. It was like 2.5 hours of scary.
just a pop up scary monster.
Yeah. I did not like that. Like, I want more of the story. I want more suspense. I want more of that tension that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just wasn't there.
Okay, go ahead and rate it.
1 star.
One
Sorry.
star.
1 star with an apology and no recommendation.
No recommendation. I'll give it a 2 star just because I think it's pretty coherent, and I saw the first one, and there was no way I was not going to see the second one.
Right.
So I'll give it a 2 star without a recommendation. It's pretty disappointing. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yep.
That's a review. 1 star, 2 star. It Chapter 2. You can follow the show at on Twitter at thewhatelseshow. You can send us an email at thewhatelseshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at thewhatelseshow. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
All right, that's it. Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.